Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a wonderful early morning, and I'm going to try to make myself bigger on this stage. How are you? It is Wednesday. We are doing our Diamond Mentor moment, and I am looking to expand myself. There we go on the stage. I am so honored to just once again bring to you leadership training and new ways of looking at things, new ways of neural protecting our brain, and how can we use leadership training, creative thinking training, and the arts in order to build strong brains, prevent dementia, connect with one another. So this is a Diamond Mentor moment that is inspired by one of our main artists that we are using or inspired by to launch our institute at the end of May. We are talking about the one and only Prince. For those of you who follow his work, this is the 9th year anniversary. Next year will be the 10th year anniversary of his passing. I was actually in Boston when it happened, and I remember looking over and seeing the Boston Bridge purple, and the whole world lit up purple in honor of this great man. But a story came to me that I wanted to share about just about his life, and also get into the neuroscience of what I think he had an awareness of, even though he wasn't a neuroscientist himself. But all right, let's just jump in. And this was a story that I found online that I believe is true because of the research I've been doing for the past year. It says in late 2011, Prince Rogers Nelson walked into Capitol Guitars, a modest music store in St. Paul, Minnesota. Dressed in dark shades and an overcoat, he browsed quietly, barely speaking. The staff recognized him instantly, but chose to respect his silence. He pointed to a few guitars and asked about the tonal differences between maple and mahogany, and then paused when the owner mentioned a recent conversation he had with a local teacher. The teacher said that the students at Anwanton Middle School in Minneapolis were losing access to their music program due to severe budget cuts. Prince nodded slightly and left without purchasing anything. 3 days later, a delivery truck arrived at Capitol Guitars. Prince had returned, but not to shop. Instead, he gave the owner a handwritten list and a simple instruction. Everything on this list, pack it and deliver it to Anwatin Middle School. The list included guitars, drum sets, violins, keyboards, amps, microphones, and recording equipment. When the owner asked if the instrument should be marked with a donor name or message, Prince just replied, "No names, no credit, just send love." The delivery created confusion at the school. Teachers and administrators at Antoine Middle School had no advance notice, and the delivery slip listed only a phone number that led to a private voicemail. Music teacher Kenneth Sims opened the shipment, stunned by the quality and quantity of the instruments. He assumed it was a mistake. It took several days of asking around and comparing the handwritten note that came with the shipment before a staff member connected it to Prince, who had visited the store days earlier. When a friend later asked him about it, Prince just said, "That's between me and the kids, not for headlines." He declined to make any public announcement or appear at the school. According to Minneapolis based journalist John Breen from the Star Tribune, even the school district wasn't formally notified. They only learned about the donor's identity after the teachers pieced the story together. Those close to Prince knew his silent generosity wasn't a one time impulse. During his early years growing up on the north side of Minneapolis, he often spoke about the importance of music education. His mother was a jazz singer and heavily involved in the local music scene, as both of his parents were. Prince once said in a 1999 interview with Ebony, "If I hadn't had access to a piano when I was 7, I don't know who I would have become. Music wasn't a hobby, it was a lifeline." Let me say that again. Music wasn't a hobby, it was a lifeline. Former bandmate Sheila E. recalled in her 2014 memoir, The Beat of My Own Drum, how Prince frequently funded youth centers and music camps without telling anyone. He believed in giving kids a chance to create, she wrote. He didn't want applause, he wanted them to play. That's powerful. He didn't want applause, he wanted them to play. At Antoine Middle School, the new instruments transformed the energy of the school. Sims recalled how students began coming to class early just to practice. A hallway that was once echoed with silence after the final bell now hummed with guitar riffs, drum beats, and laughter. We didn't just get instruments, Sims told the Minneapolis Post in 2012. We got hope. Store owner Alan Geller, who kept the receipt from Prince's bulk order tucked in his office drawer, shared later that the musician didn't even ask for a discount. He said, charge full price, they deserve the best. For Prince, who had often used his wealth to quietly support causes tied to youth empowerment, the act wasn't about visibility. A friend later commented on CNN that he believed that if you help a kid find their rhythm, they might avoid chaos. He never needed a stage for that. The donation never became a national headline. There were no photo ops or ceremonies, but in a city where music had once saved a young boy from the streets, it was returned quietly to the next generation. Prince gave them music when theirs had been taken away and never asked for anything in return. So I just wanted to share that because it was so important to honor him during the week. He passed on Monday 9 years ago, the 21st of April. But I just wanted to share that so you can all know just the importance of music education. But also, there's really new research about the importance of generosity, the importance of gratitude, and the importance of purpose. What does that look like in the brain? But Prince had all of those, just really the understanding of paying it forward, of being a solution where there is a need, and also the importance of music education. I want you to hear this quote that Oliver Sacks said. A trained neuroscientist can look at a brain and they can't tell if the person was a writer, was a construction worker, a cashier, a doctor, or a poet. But they could tell if the person was a musician by looking at the brain. And that's key. That Prince may not have been a neuroscientist, but maybe he knew intuitively the power of music on the brain. And for those of you following our work, we're doing a lot of ways of connecting this to preventing dementia and activities that are neuroprotective. And so looking at that. So I wanted to talk about those. And I also wanted to talk about the importance of arts education in giving people direction in their life. As I was reading this story, of course, I love to go read the comments of how this was affecting people. And a lot of people just said, it's great that he was doing that. He was an amazing musician. And it seems like he had a heart for people. And that was their comment. But a few people kind of went deeper and either shared their time of seeing him live, but they also shared their experiences, how music affected their life, or how the lack of music affected their life. And someone named Kelly Curto shared her experience. She said, my dad was born during the silent generation era, and he was a drummer back in a band in the 50s and 60s. And this is a woman speaker. I loved music so much as a kid, and I was good at it. I could sing, and I could also teach myself to play anything I heard on the radio. And that included being on the keyboard. But what she really wanted to do was play the drums like her dad. Well, he told me, she said, no drums. Drums were for boys. And with that went the possibility and the passion that I had. I often wonder what my life would have been like if he would allowed me to play. Would I have experimented with drugs still? Apparently she did. Would I have graduated high school? Apparently she didn't even graduate high school. Would I have had a successful career instead of struggling just to get by my whole life? I'm sure he didn't realize what he did to me by not allowing me to play an instrument. I do believe that my life would have taken a different path if music would have continued to be a huge part of my life. But I guess I'll never know for sure. And I just copied that story over because it hit me because we're looking at the new information from LAUSD with Prop 28, bringing that in, but how a lot of students still aren't getting the music exposure that the prop is supposed to allow for them to have. And someone else commented where they repeated the article where they said, he believed that if you help a kid find their rhythm, they might avoid chaos. He never needed a stage for that. This person said, I wish I had a chance to chat with Prince about that and offer my own similar idea that the arts help us channel our chaos, or we channel our chaos into the art. And that is profound and true. And so I just wanted to share that on the anniversary of his transition, that he really isn't gone. The same thing that I share about my Aunt Angelo. People who create and they leave their creations here, that is one way, metaphorically speaking, to live forever. Because even though physically their bodies are no longer here, their work is here, making the impact. And I believe that's not just for the select few, for the few famous, that is for everyone. Whether your impact is in your home, your community, your school, your office space, just local areas where you can share your art. It doesn't have to be music. It can be any type of art, even written art, poetry, a business idea, just a scientific idea, anything you're creating from your imagination and bringing it into the physical realm is a creation from you that can outlive you even when you're long gone and still have impact in your sphere and in the community. So with that, I honor Prince, I honor his life. Please stay connected. We launch our Lyrics and Leadership Institute May 28th. And I also wanted to talk about this wonderful TED Talk, how music develops our brain at every age. I share about that. You can go look that up online. And then a wonderful documentary called We Become One, The Power of the Shared Musical Experience. And Dr. Daniel Levitin, who I met, and he's a wonderful neuroscientist, talks about music on the brain and how music is neuroprotective. Music is one of the best things you can do to protect your brain against dementia, against cognitive decline, keep it well connected. It's autobiographical, it's cultural and emotional, and it activates multiple areas of the brain. So, want to celebrate Prince during this week. Stay connected to learn more about our Lyrics and Leadership program, and know that you are meant to do great things. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and happy spring. Talk to you next time. Bye.